All right, so the phylum Cnidaria, we've got four classes to consider: Hydrozoa, Scyphozoa, Cubozoa, and Anthozoa. All right, the class Hydrozoa has a couple of representatives that may be familiar to us. One is Hydra. I think we may have seen Hydra in the lab. Here's a representative of Hydra, the genus Hydra. You can see it's kind of greenish because it has endosymbiotic green algae. Hydra is kind of famous for its ability to bud or reproduce asexually. And remember how yeasts and the fungi were capable of budding, and we knew they were budding because you knew which was the parent organism and which was the daughter organism. And that's true in Hydra budding as well. But it's typical of your cnidarian with its tentacles. It is a polyp form, so here's the body tube. The pedal disc would be down here, and the mouth/anus would be up here. You can see the hypostome. Here is Obelia, and Obelia is a colonial scyphozoan, which is also predominantly of the polyp form. And then over here on the right, that is a Portuguese man of war, Physalia physalis, which is another type of colonial organism. It's not actually a jellyfish, although most people think of it as a jellyfish, but it's actually a colonial organism with four different types of cells all collaborating together. They're all polyps that work together to form this structure that we think of as a jellyfish, but it's not. All right, so this is Obelia over here, and we're going to go through and review the life cycle of this colony of polyps that makes up this organism. So Obelia has two different types of polyps. It's got reproductive polyps as well as feeding polyps. And the feeding polyps can eat food. They grab it with the tentacles and stick it into the mouth. And they share a GVC with all of these other polyps. So they're connected continuously. They share one mesoglia, one ectodermis, one gastrodermis. But then these reproductive polyps produce these medusa buds, which they will occasionally release. And these medusas that they release are fairly tiny things, not like a big old jellyfish, but they have the gonads, which can produce the gametes, sperm, and eggs, which can fuse to form a zygote. That zygote will divide by mitosis and keep dividing by mitosis. So eventually you get a larva called a planula, which is ciliated. The ciliated planula will eventually find a place to settle down and become sessile and develop into a new polyp, which will eventually turn into a colony of polyps, and we've completed the life cycle. So that is Obelia. So Physalia physalis, which is the Portuguese man of war, is actually produced from several different types of polyps. So it is not actually a jellyfish, it's a colonial organism. So a Portuguese man of war has a nematophore or a gas bag filled with air, which helps it to float. And then you've got some polyps that are reproductive polyps called gonozoids. Some that are feeding structures, feeding polyps called gastrozoids, which will feed. Dactylozoids are present in long strings, and they contain the cnidocytes and the nematocysts that will grab the prey and sting it so that the gastrozoids can eat. So all of these types of polyps work together to form a Portuguese man of war. All right, so the Scyphozoa are our true jellyfish. So Jellyfish, we've talked about ctenophores, we've talked about Portuguese man-o-war as being a kind of jellyfish, but the true jellyfish are all in this one class, the class Scyphozoa. Okay, so I'm going to show you the life cycle of the moon jelly, Aurelia aurita, in the next video. Okay, so that's what's coming up next.